Now this is a larger cane than I even start out with, but I wanted to make sure each triangle was long to begin with. So one way is, if you are better at reducing triangles, make the triangles as perfect as you can to begin with and make those super long, and then the hexagon is already halfway reduced. So that's the trade-off is, you can put the triangles together to make a short fat hexagon, or you can reduce the triangles and then try to arrange it into a hexagon. So once you have the hexagon, you can see I've already started. There's just all kinds of different ways to start reducing that. The important thing is to keep the middle as good as possible. You don't worry so much about the ends as long as one part isn't just being squished out. Because basically, if those triangles in there are good to start out with, they have nowhere to go. They're not going to get messed up if the ends are kind of, let's see, if the ends are, sometimes people put caps on. I'm trying to see how to explain this, but basically if the ends are squeezed off, then the stuff in the middle has to stay in the same pattern. So I'll show that more in a minute. I find twisting is a great way to reduce the cane. The only problem with twisting is sometimes it makes little wells. It makes the corners really sharp, but it makes little wells at the side, so I always have to smooth those out again if I reduce it through twisting. You can also reduce by bending, especially if you have a big cane like this one. So as you can see that the ends are starting to get a little distorted, but as long as they distort evenly, it should be okay. I'm taking my time to make it even. If you have to stand up and walk away, going slowly is really important. That way you can really analyze the whole length of the cane and start to see what's bulging. I like this method. Being a hexagon, there's room for your finger and thumb. Oops, sorry. There we go. See, your forefinger and your thumb, and then when you twist it, your forefinger and thumb, it's just a perfect way to press down on the cane. I really like that technique. Again, I'm sorry it got out of the frame. A little bit more twisting. So you see, I keep varying what technique I'm using. Eventually the ends do get messed up, and so what I do is I really choke off the ends. So they will get messed up, but again, I'm kind of pinching, squeezing off the ends. I'll show that here in a second. Some more. Now I'm still trying to keep it as even as possible. Those lines, if each side keep the lines parallel. And again, if you just look at it, take your hands off, take a breath, look at it. What sections are bulging, what sections are thin. You can squish the thin sections back. You can do the opposite of reducing a cane. You can also make a cane short and fat again just by squishing it back together. I'll also show that later. When you get to a certain stage, you actually can just pull the cane through your hands, and it's almost meditative. You can start to feel, just by running it through your hands, you can start to feel where the resistance of the cane means it's a fat spot. If it starts to really slide through your hands, it's getting too thin, and that will get reinforced. So then you have to be careful of those sections, what sections to be careful of. Okay, here's finally where I'm pinching and choking off the end. I won't be able to save that end, but I'm saving the whole long middle section of that cane just by pinching off the end. And I have to pinch it off in a way that I kind of have to visualize the pattern inside and pinch it off in a way that I think the pattern's perfect and intact at the point of pinching. And now I'm golden. Like, the rest of that has nowhere to go, no way to get messed up. The pinch at the end ensures that. If you can, I think as you can see, I do have some weak spots there. There's a fat spot there that I'm working on. I've got my other hand studying that pinch point. Unfortunately, this does waste clay, but I've found that it's a bigger waste of clay not to do that pinch point. I also wouldn't usually make it this big and long, so if you want to make it smaller, that's fine.